Another episode of Shift happens, and I am not joined by Preston for the first time in the podcast series. Uh, but I am joined by a good friend and colleague, Dan Thompson, with Plus One BPO. And to kick things off, Dan, do you want to just introduce yourself and Plus One BPO?
Yeah, Dan Thompson, Executive Vice President, Plus One BPO out of Utah. I'm located in southern Utah, beautiful southern Utah, red mountains, palm trees. If you go a little north, up where Justin's at, you get the snow and the smog. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Justin.
Yeah, it's I'm happy to do this too. I think it's cool. Like you and I met through LinkedIn, I believe.
Dude, that's the
Um,
craziest story.
yeah,
That was like 6 months ago.
yeah.
I see
I'm
this guy, and what honestly did it for me is your Utah Jazz hat. Like there's at least one Utah Jazz fan left. I've got to reach out to this guy.
Yeah, I do. I and now I'm in a Pittsburgh hat. My Jazz hat. And I thought it was cool. Like we had a chance, Preston and I drove down. We had a chance to check out your facility. It's a freaking incredible facility, by the way.
Building the brand, just built and christened a brand new facility down here in southern Utah.
Yeah. And it is one hell of a call. Like it is the actual like it's one of the best looking contact center offices I've ever seen. I know you guys go beyond contact center. You have some stuff that we can get into during this, but the overall facility I was like, wow, very
Not a lot of
impressive.
BPOs are actually building facilities now. The model changed, but you know you have to have a headquarters,
Yeah.
and
And
we'll get into
and
some other buildings we have across the world too later.
well, you guys have one very nice headquarter office. And I think it was kind of cool because if I recall, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, you guys preserved like a historic building within the city. So rather than like demolishing what was already there, you added an extension. You added, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's
right?
exactly right. I wish I'd throw some pictures up here. Well, maybe when we post this out, we'll throw some pictures up.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was cool. I really like the story where you're like, hey, this building had been here for a while, so rather than like knock it down, we just added this beautiful building, and I think they did a really good job on the exterior piece
Yeah,
of
we
making it
rewrapped
all
it.
blend. Yeah, and then when you're on the inside, you can definitely tell the transition point when you
No question.
yeah when you hit that lobby because I think I went you took we went as we took a tour and you had some of your technical team back in the back off like kind of the office area of that older facility. And I say older, the whole thing's kind of new, but I thought it was really cool the way you guys preserved the history of the building. Um, and yeah, so talking about so you're down in southern Utah. We met on LinkedIn. You want to just give I think what's cool, we're obviously like in the same industry, right? Like
Yeah.
we both operate BPO and contact centers. We share a lot of the same philosophies and maybe some differentiators out there, but maybe just for those that haven't heard of Plus One BPO, do you want to just give a rundown of Plus One?
Yeah. So yeah, we're based out of Utah. We've had several offices in Salt Lake, Draper, Cedar City, St. George, and we have agents from Vernal to St. George, and we've had and so that's our spoken wheel model. And honestly, just until last year, we still had brick and mortar offices, and that we're just hanging on to, and we just sold our last one last year because of the model that we built. We actually launched a spoken wheel model 18 years ago. Our CEO was has a doctorate in long distance education, so when we launched our BPO, we always had in office agents because we understood how to train them, but also for the redundancy. And so when COVID hit, we had three different centers call us and say, "Hey, we can't take calls. We don't know how to move our agents home," and we not only absorbed three other call centers agents in a matter of 24 hours, but it was just a no-brainer for us. And so that model has always worked. We've always had nice buildings for people to come into, but always been able to work at home. And the most important thing is to maintain our performance at the at-home model versus the in-office model as well. So it actually worked out really well for us.
Yeah.
Over the years, we've expanded and we've had this industry is really tight. When we started in this industry 18 years ago, there was thousands of call centers, literally thousands. And you've been in this industry, you had the big ones like West and Live Ops and all of these other centers. In our industry, in the niche industry that we partake in is direct response, direct to consumer. There's only about 5 call centers left, and 3 of those over the last year we've absorbed. That's why we've got agents in Michigan and Arizona and Texas and Florida, because those call centers called me and says, "Dude, you're still standing. You're killing it. We have some really good agents. Can you help them out?" And absolutely, we did.
That's cool. Yeah, and I think, we've had the opportunity to talk shop. I think some of the stuff you guys have done, like when we can get into, like, I think when we sat at the office, I think the real intention was get to know each other, kind of put some,
Yeah.
like faces to some names. Although we had met over video, it just made sense. We were 4 hours away. Like, let's drive down there and say what's up. I'm glad we did, and then we had an opportunity to check out Pop, which is your Plus One portal, I believe. Is that right? Plus
Yeah,
One
it's our
portal.
proprietary technology that we've built, and we could do a whole episode on that, but
We could. I just want to touch on it because I think we're trying to do, in our own way. I think, and that's kind of been a differentiator within the technology. I think what we're building in our platform is different. But I think what's been interesting because Pop really was an amazing it's an amazing product. Like, there's a lot of functionality built inside of your Plus One portal that you just don't get with standard BPO agreements, right? And so look, like I'm starting to see this pivot inside the space where it's going beyond just like task oriented. Like, hey, you just tell us what to do and we'll do it, and more of a true partnership model. And I think you guys are one of the few that are kind of help like leading that charge. I'd like to say we are, but I definitely, this isn't about me. It's about you. And honestly, looking at your tech stack, like bringing us in there I was impressed, truthfully, like what you guys built. So how do you view? Because you've been in this space, what, 20 years, 20 plus years?
18 years.
So how's it changed? How's it evolved? Like, from all the, like, let's start at how BPOs are thought of as a whole. What's that evolution
Well,
look like for you?
well, one word, commodity. It's the last thing on the list that people do. Say, "Oh crap, who's going to take our call? Who's going to manage this for us?" I guess we got to find one of those call centers, right? We got to find one of those BPOs, and when you think of a call center that way, you've already lost. We're not a commodity. We're the most powerful sales engine that you can hire. We are your sales arm of your business. But how we look at call centers is, in back to your technology, we're a technology company. We have to stay ahead of the evolving technology in the industry. And I've seen your other episodes on technology, AI, and it's advancing so fast. And so, how do you keep up? Well, you got to stay connected to your core values and your core business, and that is providing transformative and experiences for customers, right? And for your clients' customers. And how does that come in? And it's the technology that manages. And we don't say KPIs, we can say KRIs, right? You and I are aligned on that. And what that actually means is that's your key revenue indicators. How do you produce the most effective revenue per call using your technology?
Amen. Yeah, I think KPIs are. I've had a few conversations with people around KPIs versus KRIs, and I know that we share that philosophy. And one thing that I'm seeing more of it. I think maybe you are too. Like, you're starting to see the language kind of shift towards, the messaging. I think we've kind of sat on for a while, which is like, hey, revenue matters, not just the activity.
Yeah.
Um, And that's so like when you look at it, has it always been that way? Were you always that way? Like I because I'll openly admit, and I could share with you kind of my aha moment, but were you when you got into contact centers, did you fall what's your evolution look like in your thought
Yeah,
process?
there's two reasons we got into this industry, and that is one is to create a venue for people to come to be more successful human beings, and sales is a way to do that. The second reason is we saw a gaping hole in this industry because we're all from this industry, and that was performance. It was a gaping hole. There was like I told you earlier, there's thousands of call centers in the industry, but nobody focused on performance. And we didn't want to come in and take over, have thousands and thousands of agents to take over, to take place of what somebody's already doing, but to change the industry into performance matters, revenue matters. And so it didn't matter if we started out with 20 agents. We had 20 agents, we had all of our friends in a room, and we created the Plus One method. And it wasn't about the quantity of people, it was about the effectiveness of the phone, because 18 years ago, there was all these platforms where you could just put 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 BPOs on a platform. They would route your best agents, and that's actually how we got started in this business. Is we would be the number one call center every week, and they're like, can you get some more of those agents? And when you take a campaign from 18 to 40%, you kind of make a dent in this industry. And so performance has always been our number one priority. Revenue per call is our key indicator.
Man, that matters so much. Like, and I mean, it's and particularly like I think where I think I've struggled, right, in terms of messaging and kind of getting your take on it, right? Because obviously, like from a sales standpoint, I think we've historically done really a good job. Like sales is the favorite child of organizations, like especially sales teams that produce. Like they tend to have larger budgets. The employees make more money, and because there's a direct correlation to revenue, it's very easy to measure. If you
What keeps the company afloat?
Yeah,
Revenue, right?
revenue, and where I think I know I've struggled in trying to get the message out is also like, hey, there's revenue inside of customer service, and like and so and I know you know we could get into that at another time, but that's I think where the industry is falling flat. What are your thoughts on like how customer service is viewed? Um, because I've seen some of your content and you've spoken to this on LinkedIn a little bit, but like, what are your thoughts on the way customer service is viewed today versus where you think it needs to go?
Well, I don't know how it's viewed in the industry. I know how we view it, and I know it's different from how people see it in the industry. But we see it as service calls as a hidden revenue opportunities, period. There's a major gap why, neutral customer service agents, there's this gap growth that can be managed by performing. Save rate, upsell, revenue per service call. I mean, let's measure those instead of average handle time. Let's measure those instead of um, quality scores, right?
Yeah.
Um, don't ask, did we resolve the call? Did we ask, did we increase the customer's lifetime value? Because increasing the customer's lifetime value does increase CSAT scores. It does increase customer satisfaction, right? Sales is the ability to give somebody confidence that the reason they made the decision is the right reason. Who gives them that confidence, right? It's the person on the other end of the phone to
Amen.
remind them that the decision they're about to make was the right decision because of
Yeah.
the value in the product.
Yeah. And I that's what I really admire about like I see there's few very few people in the BPO space that would agree with what you just said, which is
Wow.
unfortunate. Yeah,
Wow.
like and I think that's the cool thing about the podcast. I agree with everything you just said. But you're finding that if like the more conversations I have, like I think people are starting to tilt this way and understand, especially with the implementation of AI, like tasks are no longer gonna cut it. Like, if it can, if you view it as a task, it will be automated. If it generates revenue, if it creates meaningful impact, um, I think you've got more longevity. But we've had a few conversations with people that
I'll
are
tell you the
still,
message that needs to get across is people are brands don't understand yet. Some do, and this is the tough conversation in the industry that you and I are going to be facing this year, next year, and over the years. Is they want elevated customer service. They want more revenue. They want. But where are they going to get it? Where they're looking isn't where they're going to find it, because they're looking at cost per minute or cost per hour. What's the lowest I can get? Where can I go and find the very cheapest labor, the most uneducated labor, and go get what I want?
yeah, it's viewed as a cost. I mean, it literally sits under OpEx, customer service
Right.
does. Yeah, it's lazy math. It's kind of the opinion I've had on it. And that's what I think it's been great. And why I think we've talked quite often, because you're again, you're starting to see a pivot though. Like I probably spend a little too much time on LinkedIn when I'm not like working. I'm not constantly like who's saying what, and I'm starting to see the pivot, but it's maybe, I guess it's, what is that analogy, the yellow cars analogy, where it's like, hey, you never see yellow cars until you start looking for them.
Yeah.
I think maybe now maybe psychologically, I think I'm seeing more of it, but a lot of conversations, you still see BPOs operating under this logic of who can do it for the cheapest, and it becomes a race to the bottom.
Exactly.
And now we just start trying to undercut each other on price, and we squeeze ourselves out of business. And I think I don't know, what's your take on that, because like what does the next 5 years look like in the BPO industry to you?
Yeah, we're not going to participate racing to the bottom. We have our value, and we're going to maintain our value, and our no means nothing, right? Our yes means nothing until we say no, and we're not going to participate in racing to the bottom with price. If you understand the economics around paying for performance, you will always pay more because you'll always make more.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I honestly, I kind of just want to open it up, because I think like I don't want to. I think when we get into BPOs as an industry as a whole, I've said before in other conversations that have been recorded, I think you're going to see like a major roll up happen inside the space, and you're going to see some artificial growth through acquisition. You could call it real growth through acquisition, but the acquisitions will only matter if you truly change the culture that's happening inside these campaigns.
No question.
And like go out and acquire. That's one hell of a way to grow fast, through acquisition. But I think you're also going to see through automation companies automate themselves right out of business. Doing what they deem success at scale and finding out that these efficiency metrics don't equal meaningful outcomes.
That's right.
And so when you with kind of, that's kind of what I made me like, because I think from what I see in your content, right? What I'm trying to kind of pull out of you is, and obviously I don't want to influence it, but like what is, through your lens, just what is that evolution over the next 5 years, right? AI is coming. We all do. We'd be crazy to think that AI is not going to impact the contact center industry in a very meaningful way. Like, and maybe it's a big question, like crystal ball type question, but what?
Let me get in my crystal ball. The next 5 years isn't going to be much different from the last year. I really feel like the last couple of years is when the change started, and we're going to continue to see that at a rate I don't know. AI is here, and with everything, you have these techs that come in and come out, and people flock to them, and they're like, oh, let's get back to our basics. Are we using AI? Of course. You have your BI analytics. It's fantastic. Can it automate tasks that humans can do at an efficient rate? Absolutely. Is AI going to create more revenue than a human being? I don't think so. The human touch is so important that yes, it's going to enhance the human experience at the rate at which we allow it to, and the rate at which the quality of the AI is there, and the touch points that we allow it to interact with it within the customer. Are we gonna take all 2,000, 2,500 agents that we have and replace them with AI?
Not anytime soon.
Not in the next 5 years.
Not on the roadmap. And I honestly, in that, I mean, you bring that up, right? Plus One BPOs. I mean, you guys are bigger than us. You're in terms of headcount and overall, like plus you guys are not, you're not new to the game. Sonic, we're new to the game. You have 2,500 plus agents out in Ecuador.
Yeah, we have between 1,800 and 2,000 right now. That shift happened. We're growing to 2,500 in Ecuador this year. That's our goal, and we're growing from 300 to 500 in the U.S. That may be closer to 600 with some of the goals that we have.
Which is amazing, dude. I mean, honestly, it speaks to the value you guys provide. Obviously, to get to that kind of scale, that is not an easy feat in this space. And in order to get to that scale, that means you're doing things right at the fundament. You're doing the fundamentals right, because you don't just grow to that kind of scale through pure happenstance. It's your outcomes are obviously there for the clients and customers you work with, and that's what's led greatly to the success of the size of the organization in terms of headcount. And I think you guys have, like, to be employing that many people, it can have a very big impact on the neighborhoods that you, when you talk about 1,800 employees, it's pretty impactful.
There's a lot of rent payments, there's a lot of house payments, and that's how we see it. The impact is huge in the communities that we're in all over Utah, and then the smaller communities that we took over some call centers. I was talking to a guy the other day. He has 14,000 agents offshore.
Wow.
I was like, that's fantastic. It's through acquisition. We're a debt-free company. We've been debt-free since day one, and I know you agree with that too, because that's your model as well. But responsible growth is essential in growing a BPO, because margins are so tight.
Amen. Amen. I mean, I think we can learn. I've learned some stuff from you along the way, and I think that's like, especially we're a lot newer than you guys, so. But that resonates. Responsible.
Dude, you guys are making some noise.
Yeah, we're trying. But
I mean, you're talking about the next 5 years. The model that you've created is the next 5 years.
I hope so.
If you look at the last 20 years in this industry, go look at all the centers that have launched, failed, or been acquired. And unfortunately, that's the name of this game is acquisition. Go look at, and I'm not going to name names, but go look at your top 5 BPOs. They don't have anything special. They have VC back capital that goes and buys centers. They buy humans, and they buy the business. And almost every single time they lose business. The customer satisfaction, the deliverables tank. And so, which is great for us, because then they put out some RFPs. They're like, hey, we were with a center that just got acquired and our service sucks now, and we're looking for this.
Yeah.
So keep it up. Just keep driving it to the bottom. we'll grow responsibly, and you and I will go produce over the next 5 years the greatest BPOs in history. And people will look back and say, these guys have been yelling at the top of the buildings for 10 years. This is how it should look, and set the model. And I think that's what we're doing.
I agree. I agree, and almost to the point of delusion at times. But I think you got to be a little bit loud uh, to get a point across, especially. But I think it's cool the fact like that we were able to meet you and Marion down in St. George. Like, that was kind of a good indicator and some validation from some guys that have been in the space, walked a mile in the shoes, and were like, hey, so it means a lot for you to say that, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, you guys have been doing it. Obviously, I've been in the contact center space. I mean, my entire working adult life. But when we launch, you just never know. And so it's nice. Like, I think the early validation from you meant a lot to me. So I don't know that I've ever said that, but thank you
No,
for
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah, it meant a lot. And kind of driving down there and getting the chance to tour your facility, and I remember when we drove home, I was like, yeah, all right, like we need to build one of those. Like and that's at some point maybe for us. Right now we are fully remote as an organization today, but I think as we scale, we see the need for what you mentioned, which is that like have that headquarters, have that that central hub for the organization, which I thought I'd never say but I see the importance of it as we scale. And so maybe one day we'll be as cool as you guys. Because I
Well,
swear that upstairs area was. I wish people could see it. You got to post some pictures, but that you had the
I'll post some
two.
pictures.
You guys have like two doors on each side. Like, I mean, you could host a damn party up there with like this giant fireplace and about the biggest conference table I've ever seen in my life. Did you guys have to forklift that? Like, did you have to get a crane to get that table all the way up there?
I think a guy built it, handmade it in. No, oh, I think that's another one. A guy actually built it in place, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I'm like, if that had to come up the staircase, I'd have taken a 10-man team,
Oh,
and I don't even know if
you're
it'd
not
fit.
talking about where we sat and met. You're talking about the other room.
Yeah, no, no, no. The one we sat and met. I'm talking about the holy
Yeah,
shit room. Like the one that literally they've got the two sliding, I don't, what are they, like accordion doors that like
yeah,
they go right into the walls and it opens up and connects. Like you had a kitchen and then you had like the fireplace that was like an outdoor patio followed by another room, and there was a conference table like in one of those rooms that I'm like, holy shit, what a cool
yeah. It's a
table.
great place to host an event. It is a dual. We can host events there. In fact, we had our holiday event there, which was awesome. You have 300 or 400 people, but that's not really the beauty. The beauty of that building is the nature that surrounds that, the red rock, that surrounds the building.
You're right at because you guys are right next to Zion, right?
Yeah, we built it on the back side of Zion,
Yeah. Wow.
which they just incorporated that section of southern Utah into Zion. It's
Which
beautiful.
is awesome. It's a beautiful area. I think I had one of the best sandwiches I've had in a long time out of the little restaurant there. When we grabbed lunch, it was pretty good. I think I think the industry needs more of, and what I love about our relationship is kind of the open collaboration, right? Like I don't know, my experience early on in contact centers, especially I was in a position at one point when I was shopping for a BPO. And like and the it was cutthroat, man. It was cutthroat. And like it's cool to have the ability, especially, speaking as like first time founder coming in, having this idea, and you've obviously built your business to what it is today, but to be willing to share, kind of some of the experiences You know, we had a call last week where you're like, hey, here's how I view this, you know, and just like, I think that's been missing from this industry. And I would say, you know, like we may be making noise, but there's a select group of BPOs that actually like extend helping hands and are sharing best practices out of like, hey, there's enough success to go around. We don't have to chop each other off at the knees. We can work together. And you might have been when I officially launched online, I think you were the first one to ever do that. To actually reach out, you know, and if it was the jazz hat, like hell yeah, let's go jazz. But you actually reached out and you were like, tell me what you got going on, you know, like
I'm
curious.
actively looking for like-minded people in our industry. I know a lot of people in this industry, and a lot of people know me, and I can't have those conversations because they will chop you off at the knees. Not all of them. I'm saying some of them. I've sat in a conference at a dinner with 30 people and stood up on top of, and stood on my chair and forced an issue and said, "Hey, listen, everybody at this table, this is what this industry has got to do and force this issue." And to this day, this was like 7 years ago. To this day, when I go to that particular conference, they're like, "You're the guy that stood on the chair and yelled at us for like 20 minutes that this is how this industry needs to change," and it didn't change, you know. And I've had that fight in me, and the messaging that you have is like it's this light bulb. It's this breath of fresh air. It's like, dude, he gets it. He is on board, and you and I together, no matter how fast we grow the next five, can't take on all the business in this industry. But we need to, and
Yeah.
we need to find people that are willing to go, that have the same core values and thoughts and revenue first agenda that can go to brands and generate revenue first agenda through our centers. We're
Amen.
not billing minutes. We're not billing hours, right? A lot of most of my contracts are um, percentage of revenue. Put your money where your mouth is, right? I'll do it.
Yeah, I've like we're 100% US based, and I think we compete well because we do have like, so like our model is we have like a, I mean, we break even on the hourly, right? We're like, hey, well, let us take care of the logistics. Nobody's getting rich off hourly billables.
Right.
Our model goes into outcomes, and I think you guys do very similar. And I don't, without like giving away too much, just from what I understand of the business, you know, it's like, hey, we care. We actually give a shit. Like, hey, yes, we happily will staff these campaigns, but the first question that I believe we both ask ourselves when we review a new client is, can I actually help them? Can I actually make a difference? Like, and if not, it's, you know, I think we BPOs need to be honest about that. You know, like not make a quick buck. Like I and that when I that's the impression I got in our meeting with you and Marion was like, hey, can we help? You know, like we've talked about a campaign recently where you're like, oh man, yeah. And I was like, cool, because that's not you're better at that than I am. So let's do right by the customer and let's see if we
Well,
can.
if you remember, I asked you a lot of questions before I got excited because we have to be able to understand if we can actually help the brand, or is the brand going to get in the way? Are they willing to do these things, and and do they have margin? You know, BPOs aren't for everybody. If you got a Ginsu knives, right? 1980s IVR. That's a good product for AI now.
Which one?
I'm just saying. I mean, in the 80s, the Ginsu knives were big.
Yeah.
They're 29, 30 bucks, $40, and you can't afford a live human on that, and you don't need a human for a $40 product.
No. No, you don't. I know, and I honestly, so like one of the philosophies, and I think where because you and I have talked about this. Matter of fact, I don't even know that we need to revisit it, but it is revenue lit, like being inside the contact centers and true partnership models, and not just an activity center that just like hands a playbook. So like you saying, hey, you remember I asked a lot of questions before I got excited. And that is what's been missing greatly in this space. Most people that have been in the space running a BPO as long as you have, as long as you and your team, and I know Marion, I know there's two other, it's Dawn and
Don and Aaron, yeah.
Aaron. So there's kind of the four of you collectively, but for you guys to be in the space and get the message, because a lot of BPOs just say how many head count
Yep.
and get really excited and go yes, or it is that question, can we help this customer,
That's
like,
right.
and actually you demonstrated, and that's to your point why you asked so many questions, and some questions I frankly didn't even know to ask the customer because I wasn't inherently the right choice alone. Us as BPOs need to get together and go, hey, you know what? I hear your problem. I have a relationship with somebody that I think we can solve this. And that's, where and actually give a shit about the output because there's so much out there that everybody can succeed. And historically BPOs are just like, get off my lawn, and we hoard information like crazy.
Yeah. How many hours, how many minutes can I charge is the first question, and it's the wrong question.
Yeah. And I bet you there's going to be some BPO owners that like get their hands on because I hope we can clip this up, but I know we can clip this up. One of the cool things about Riverside is like the way we're seeing it, it's actually going to do all the editing, so it won't appear this way when we produce it out. But the that damn like what is it? The performas that BPOs run under. How much head count? How many hours? Here's how much I'll make. And it's that just straight hourly billable. I actually, you know what? I'm going to say you brought up the bigger BPOs. And the perfect example that I've used before, and your thoughts on this, is they don't even try to hide the fact they don't give a shit about the end result for
Now
their
we're getting
client.
real. Okay,
Yeah, they
let's
don't
do it.
even they don't even hide it. If you look at the quarterly earning reports for all the major BPOs that have IPO'd, there is nowhere inside of them, nowhere. And believe me, I've looked where they show the impact they made for their clients. They only show the impact they made for their shareholders, and it is headcount and how much did it cost us, and then they talk about digital transformation and how they're going to get more margin out of that headcount or out of the contract. But there's nowhere in those earning reports that say, look what we did for client A, B, and C, and a result like nowhere.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
don't
to
own
me,
themselves. They're responsible to their shareholders.
well, yeah,
Period. This goes for any business. Where is the incentive? You have to place the incentive where it is, right? And that is the shareholder.
and the shit's inherently broken, dude. Like, because the shareholder, if you like these quarterly earning, like you literally don't look at longevity, you look for like the quickest bang for your buck, and creates this cycle that I think Blockbuster experience, which I promise you that BPOs like us are Netflix, and these monsters, and I hope somebody over there sees this shit. You're done. You are done if you don't change your model because they are the race to the bottom. And what you're going to see a lot of BPOs do, in my opinion, is they're going to go so heavy on the AI, and it's going to make shareholders happy. Like, look, we're doing everything we were doing before, but at like a fraction of the cost. Or look at the profits. You'll see a spike in their share value, and then you're going to watch them fall off because guys like you and I are Netflix and we're coming.
Yeah, and so that's why it's important that you and I are talking right now, and we have some friends in the industry that think alike as well. It's going to be important because there's I see these RFPs come across my desk all the time, and it's like 500, 600, 700 agent count that they're looking for to replace Blockbuster, right? And it's going to be important that you and I collaborate and our friends in the industry to take on that business together, right? You individually can't do that, and that's why it's almost like they're beholden to Blockbuster, right? Because they have 800 agents just sitting around waiting for their next job. You and I don't have 800 agents just waiting for the next job. They're busy. They're busy producing revenue for our current brands.
Well, and I think you made a comment too, where you said, God, I wish I had a memory of a steel trap. It was earlier on in the conversation where you said it was about creating meaningful value for your employees or something along those lines. What was it?
Yeah, it's one of our founding statements, and that is to create a venue where people can come to where people can come and create a learn an industry and become more successful in life. And sales is the number one industry where you can go and do that. And we have our Plus One method that is our academy that they go through, and it's a skill, and it's accredited at a university that says, you go through this course and you'll learn a skill for life. And so it's important that we get our neighborhoods and our towns and our in the somebody that wants to become a more successful human being, that they can come and learn a skill, and that is sales.
Well, and I think it's a give a shit. Like in touring your facility, and I didn't get a chance, obviously, to meet everybody, but like you guys introduced a couple of your team members. I think we took like a 15-minute break, and I just like said hello to some of the people that were out there just walking around. I think I was getting looks like, who the heck is that guy? But but what I did, the one thing that I even talked about this on the car ride home is you didn't see people there that looked like they were dying inside, which you and I like culture matters, right? And so not only are we talking about revenue and outcomes, but it's about the culture that you set for the team, and they feel like they're contributing. Like I think that when we got into pop as an example, you brought in an individual into the room who I think is one of the developers on the back end of that, and he's just talking about like the vision. Not only is he working for you guys, but I gets the sense that he's working with you, and that's
No
unique.
question.
It's very unique, man. Like too many companies chase, they run as if they are an IPO, and like and you squeeze and extract value from the individuals as much as you can, with value for the client being the second thought. It's like, wait, did they just turn the food table upside down? Did you see that? I
No.
think the
Oh yeah, the
the
the, the
the
triangle, the pyramid.
yeah, it was like basically boom.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's happening here in the, and not to make it political, but it's a perfect analogy of just like, wait, what we thought was right and the way we operate actually flipped on its head through some of the methodologies that you share, that I share, and
You
it's
sure?
just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think it's really cool, dude.
But it's common sense.
It is. But you just flip the pyramid upside down. People are like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, wait, we're responsible to like help our clients succeed? No, no, man. They give us the playbook. We just staff. Like that's kind of what we're up
Big
against.
red X.
Yeah.
No whammies.
Yeah, I posted, I don't know if you saw it said something like, and I meant it. I'm like I said, I might be delusional, but I said my favorite part about running and starting up a BPO is that there's a ton of BPOs but very little competition. And I meant it.
Boom.
I
That's
meant
drop.
it.
Mic drop.
Yeah, what I would put you in. I don't want to say competition but I would say that if I knew you and I were like, we couldn't talk to each other, and there was just this one opportunity, and I knew you were on the other side of it, I'd know. I'd be like, oh, okay, I feel that that's going to be a competitive where like there's not a lot of BPOs that I put in that regard, and so I want to give you the well deserved respect of what you've built and the philosophies that you operate under. And it's always nice to have the ability to reach out to people that are further along in their journey than somebody like me and Preston.
Well, you talked about earlier the next 5 years. We're learning every day, and the second you stop learning, you're dead in the water. And that's what's happened to Blockbuster. Stopped learning, right?
Yeah.
There's, you talked about, some of our. I just want to recite. I think it's important for you, but also everybody that, that wants to partake in this content is the core purpose, and it's important to understand our purpose, cause, and passion is to empower people to get what they really want. Meaning, both our agents, and you talked about this, the brands and the customers on the other end of the phone. We know more, we care more, we sell more, plus one. That's our core purpose. And our mission is to deliver transformative experiences that maximize customer acquisition and lifetime value. Right in our mission, we say we're going to produce more revenue, right? We recognize, attract, develop, and retain. We call that radar, winning agents, campaigns, and business partners.
Right.
And
Recruit. Wait, say with the radar again. What's radar?
Radar is we recognize, attract, develop, and retain winning agents, campaigns, and business partners.
So good. You got to get a radar shirt or something. We got BPO radar. That is such a great acronym. Such a great acronym.
Yeah. Well, and so full circle, this is what I was doing is when I reached out to you, I was radaring you. You are, I recognized and was attracted because you're a great business partner. We're actually, actually can say that we're business partners, and we're going to continue to push. I don't even like the word agenda, but push the importance of our message to brands that they have an option, and we can send that message together. And so we've teamed up to do that, and it's important.
I think it's been a blast. It's been a blast and invaluable. I think selfishly, I get a lot out of it. And I know together collectively we're going to win together. But even just the we've got this thing going. You're in, or I guess we can talk about it. I can edit this out too but the alliance. The alliance?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
All in.
Perfect.
Announce
so
it.
that
Let's
matter of
announce
fact,
it.
let's announce it. I'll actually release it because it actually should be live tomorrow. If the website guy we've got to just DNS and we're in. So you're part of the founding group, and we're going US BPO Alliance. And with the US BPO Alliance, it talks a lot about what we just discussed, right? It was like, hey, let's get together with a group of badass individuals that actually care about the outcomes and create a group where, we work together and we find meaningful outcomes for clients and customers, because inherently there's opportunities that you and I just recently spoke about, where it became very clear to me when I got on the phone with you, you were better qualified to help with this campaign than we would have been on our own. Right? Like there was a comfort level. When I say that, I think could we, Sonic CX, figure out a way to make it work? The answer to me is yes. But together with Plus One BPO, can we make this work faster, drive better outcomes for our customers? And after 30 minutes on the phone, it was like, yeah, absolutely. This is the right thing to do for the customer. Right? And it became abundantly clear. And there's no ego in it for me. But I get the opportunity to work with another group. I'm going to be learning something. You guys maybe will learn something from us along the way of hey, they look the model here, whatever. I don't know. But I thought it was cool. The fact that the openness that needs to happen within the community and the US BPL Alliance. We have a handful of founding members. So it'll be you, myself. We have Leo Lopez with Calltastic. Amanda Quinn Advisory Group, and there's a few more that are in the queue. That what we're trying, I think the big part of the alliance is to make sure that you bring in companies that care and not just like flood it with everything. And what's cool about what we're doing in the alliance is it's not a for-profit kind of thing. It is a Netflix versus Blockbuster kind of thing. Like
That's right.
here are the groups that are going to, and we'll put ourselves on that. So I'm excited, dude. I'm
Yeah, that's a winning
excited.
group right there. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think, and it's funny because what's your take on this? And I think I know, but like I've talked to people, that's like, why would you, in particular, actually talked about your company with somebody, and they're like, they sound like they're a competitor of yours. Why do you guys like talk to each other and work together? What are your thoughts on that? Because I already know what I said but just like, and maybe it goes to radar, I'm sure there's a part of
Um,
that, but there's something inside of you outside of the business
this
aspect.
is
Like,
this is something that comes inside of me, and that is you have to live abundantly instead of scarcity. And if you understand the need, the real need for our businesses in this industry, we can't grow fast enough. So we have to align ourselves to 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 produce a product that is just winning and that creates raving fans of the customer. And you and I, we can't do it over the next 5 years alone. And so I live very abundantly. There is more money. Just this isn't about the money flows, dude. Business flows. And if you're in a scarcity model, I'm not working with you. You're out to cut somebody's legs off.
I love it. I think that's pretty. I was like, there's so much out there. I think I didn't
So
say it as
much.
eloquently as you did, like with the live abundantly. I'd probably need to put that. I still know but I'll probably have that somewhere on this wall just to, yeah,
I
so,
need
so
to
I
put
can
my.
see it. The but yeah, man, like I agree, and like and it's so much fun. It is so much fun when you work with people and not like everybody's your competition. Like,
Do you know why?
obviously we are going to try to one up each other when we have the
You
opportunity.
bet your ass.
But yeah, healthy
You know why? Because
competition.
winning's fun.
Yeah, you know what? I always say, I'll never have a gambling problem because I hate losing way more. Like, I hate to lose and I love to be competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta take it in stride. I hate to lose, and that's what I love. Like, I think when we met you and Marion's like, let's slay dragons, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Do it.
Slay dragons. Now, like, it's a term that Preston and I will use. Go slay that dragon, just because I think, but it was cool, and I think I want to give you the respect, and it's not me trying to like overstate or try to paint you in some like light, or like, I just thank you, right? Like, I think it was cool because when we were brand new, like what we're building over here, um it shocks me to what we've done. But it's like there's few people that along the way kind of just give you that, and like that jolt. And when we met you, we were just kind of getting our footing. You say radar, but like to have somebody in the industry just reach out and be like, hey, we had a call. I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, and I think I know we met the first time over virtually like we are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were just like really curious, and you're like, and then it turned into a second call where I think Marion was on the second call. It was just you and I on the first, then we had Marion and Preston, then turned into an in-person meeting, and then we just stayed in touch. And
This is. I needed
it
to
meant a
know if I
lot.
was going to go. If this is somebody that I can go run with over the next 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is absolutely.
it meant a lot, dude. I mean,
You're welcome.
for
It's my
and
pleasure.
that, I think, is part of what the alliance is about. Because when yeah, And it just more people need to operate that way. I hope to always operate that way myself, but you were a really good example of that abundance mindset and kind of just yeah. And so as we win together and grow together and hopefully try to catch up to you guys in some aspects, that building would be one for the books because that's a tough one to top. You'll have to
There's a
put
lot
some
of
pictures
brands
up.
out there that need you to. So, and
Yeah.
we need you to as well. So we're going to
Well,
run together. Just make sure
it's
you get
good.
get a new pair of shoes.
And I know even outside of call centers, because like you do dirt biking, you do, or your son does. I don't know if you actually. I got to imagine you did some of that yourself, and that's how your
Yeah,
son got into that,
yeah,
right?
we race motocross.
Yeah.
My
So you're not
son,
just like some bored and call center guy. You even go out and have fun. You have a life outside of call centers.
that's hard to do, by the
I
way.
know. I know. Yeah. So, but motocross, because I mean, last we spoke, I think it was last weekend or the weekend before, and you were just like in a pile of mud. You were,
Dude, it was crazy. It was a mud race for sure.
yeah, I don't, but I've always wanted to get into dirt biking because I'm afraid of the street bikes. I trust myself. Like, if I crash because I did something stupid, I think I can accept that, but I have fear of getting on a motorcycle and like, because I've been rear-ended before at no fault of my own, and if I was on a motorcycle, like, good night.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, this is my live for today attitude that, and I turned 50 last year. And so you start thinking a little bit down at 50, but you still have this like, ugh, you've got to get out, and especially when you're chasing your son. And by the way, my 14-year-old son is way faster than I am now. But I have to
yeah.
say, I was faster than him when I was his age. So I'm still pushing.
He's Thompson 2.0. He's
Yeah,
the upgraded model.
yeah,
He's the upgraded version. I know my son. Yeah, kids are cool, man. It's always fun to watch your kids kind of pick up things that are interesting to you and see them do it on their own. Like if you have a shared interest, for me, it's basketball.
yeah.
Like, but my son is way better at 13 than I ever was, even at 17, and it's really cool to watch.
Well, as
But
parents, we're the only advocate for our children that want our children to be better than we are.
yeah, yeah.
And that's our job.
So what is I know we touched on call centers quite a bit, and we share philosophies, and then the US BPO Alliance, and all we can talk off more on that just for that, but that's launching. So by the time all this will come out, because I know last we spoke, but the definitive date for the website to be done should be tomorrow, which will be awesome. Um, but outside of that, like, you know, what I think is interesting, like for first time leaders, people that are trying to make, let it be a call center agent or, kind of what's your wisdom you would share and like personal development, growth, like lessons learned, anything that kind of comes to mind that you'd say, man, if I wish I'd have known that earlier. Obviously, relationship building is an example I could share because you do that very well.
I have to say, most of my wisdom either comes from failing or from, mentors that have done it before me, and you just try to improve upon that. If you're in this industry, our sales agents are the most important piece of our business. And if I was to give them, and we go through, new hires all the time, and you give them advice, it's important that we have a platform that is easy to follow but is impactful. The psychology of phone sales and customer service conversations is way different than your normal interaction on the street, right? You're a different person, and you have to act and portray yourself in a whole different way, and that is through the psychology of sales. And so we have a platform, Plus One Academy. my advice to agents onboarding with Plus One is make that your syllabus, your Bible, your everything, because it works, right? The process works, and a lot of people want to reinvent the process, but that's the truth in business as well. There's just some facts in business that work every single time, and it's not just processes. It's the way that you the way that you come to the business, and that is, we've talked about that, is go help your people in business succeed. Like, that's why I reached out to you. That's why you reached out to other BPOs. Is, hey, you're the right person. You're a winning business partner. You have your other business. Let's go work together. That winning relationships work every single time.
That's wise words. Relationships, winning relationships. I agree. I do. And the Plus One Academy, I don't know what's in it, but I'm sure that there's some good nuggets that people can pull out of it. I wonder if I'd pass your academy. Is there like a test at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus1.academy. Go and get a free. You can just get in there.
Plus One. I just
Plus
go
one
straight
dot
to the
academy.
test, and you'll be like, Phil. Like, no, I honestly, I think I that's just really cool. Like, it's not something that many BPOs do, and there's some really good BPO owners out there, dude. Like, the space is
Absolutely.
full of a lot of, like, I'd say nice people. You know what somebody said to me the other day? They said, because you've seen, we were working with a company that's like a marketing group. They're awesome. They're awesome people, right? And I'm like, hey, what we're trying to do is take our philosophy and put it into bite-sized chunks. And they said to me that we're trying to evangelize too much. And because of the revenue focus, right? And I share this because I step back and like reflect, like, what's your take on that? Truthfully, like, when you see somebody, because I'll say I'm a self-proclaimed shit talker, but I try to be very careful on LinkedIn to not talk shit about people. I stick to talking shit about processes. But like, what is your take? Where do you find that fine line? Because I see you talk some shit sometimes too. Maybe you're a little more. Uh,
Well, is it talking shit or is it talking the truth? People don't like the truth.
Thank
They
you.
perceive that as shit talking. I mean,
Yeah.
let's call it what it is.
I love it. That's how I felt. I wanted to throw that at you because they're like, "Hey, you're trying to evangelize," and if they see this, I'm not sharing names. They'll know exactly who they are. But I literally reflected on that, and I'm like, "Well, wait, like, are they right?" Now here I want to go, because let's open this up, because I know we share a lot of thinking and kind of just, I know we've reached the hour mark, but are you good on time for a second?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. The next was, when you look at customer service leaders, because we share very similar, like, our message is revenue lives here, right? So like, that's
Yeah.
our tagline, and we've done really well with sales. Sales just come, like, and they said to me, well, the reason you're capturing sales campaigns and not customer service campaigns is because you're evangelizing, and customer service leaders need to be guided, like, like mama duck, I think was the example used, like, follow me, like, because they need to be guided, because they're caretakers and personality perspectives, like,
Yes.
and so that's how and I'm kind of just like, I want to get your thoughts on that philosophy in particular. Like, what do you agree about? Do you disagree? And I've had more time to think about this, because when they threw it at me, I was like, okay, like, I've had some time, but now I'm just putting you on the,
Well,
because
this is real simple for me. Take 10 plus one agents, put them on your customer service campaign, and measure all your measurements that you're going to do, and see the actual impact of revenue, customer satisfaction in 30, 60 days. Whatever timeline you give me, I guarantee we'll wipe the floor. The reason I can say that confidently is we do it all the time. We know how to have conversations. When somebody calls on the phone uh, in a customer service, the conversation is being handled wrong. It is, how can I help you? Okay, fine. Let's help the customer. I totally agree with that. But let's get to the core problem of why they're calling. They think that they want to return the product. Oh, okay. Well, let's give you. We'll return that for you. But why? What value did the salesperson sell you that you're not getting? Did you know that 90% of returns the box isn't even opened? Do
I didn't
customer
know.
experts know that 90% of the returns the box has never been opened? They didn't get to experience the value that they were sold. And I guarantee if you reiterate that value, because it took, what was your shipping times? 3 to 7 days, or was it 10 days? Did they lose the value in the mind? Did they leave the phone call when they were sold sitting by the door like this, waiting to get the package open because they were so excited? Right? So it's full circle, both sales and customer service, and you need to reiterate that value. I mean,
I
I could go on forever, but
no, dude. I freaking love it. I love it. This is very simple for me. Take 10 of our agents and we'll wipe the floor with it. Now, I first of all, that was freaking badass. The second part, okay? Because I think I had I don't want to share what I said, but was that's so where us as a business we're landing a lot of sales accounts, which I'll do. I mean, I like inherently I my background is sales. Um, and we're trying to get as many customer service accounts as possible to prove just what you said there, right? Like,
yeah.
but they're saying it's not landing with leaders of customer service. Will not choose to go with revenue focused BPOs because we're not caretakers and we sound too salesy. And that is why we are having a hard time getting more customer service campaigns into our contact center. And so this was because this was a marketing meeting for all purposes. Like, hey, what do we? How do we make it? Like, this was the feedback. Um, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you can agree, like you disagree, whatever. But like, I know what I said, and I'll share that with you. But
I think what your marketing group is asking you to do is put um, the name customer in your marketing, care in your marketing, and say that you do that. How you do that is going to be the right way, not the wrong way. They're trying to position you as a market friendly BPO, and you're just saying, dude, this is what we do, and we know that we're doing the right thing, and I don't want to be portrayed as something else.
yeah, hey man, I honestly, I what I ended up getting into with them,
It
and
doesn't mean that empathy is not you. Your agents have empathy, duh,
yep, yep,
right?
yeah, it
But
was.
through empathy, what is the? Are we talking about the end result, or what are we talking about here?
Well, what they're saying there, it was literally you're not going to get inbound inquiries for customer service campaigns because the people who make the decisions want you to lead this tribe like your mama duck, getting the ducks to follow the path. And we're missing that in the content. And you could say, okay, fair enough, but just like there's a new look, I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. The whole purpose of the podcast is like shift happens and it's about how markets are going to shift. The There's a new generation of customer service leader coming too.
That's
Like
right.
if like and I want and so I think they kind of looked at me like holy like you're but it's like hey, they're going to get on board or they're going to end up without a job. Like, and it's not a BPO thing. I mean, it's as bold as I don't want to sugarcoat it and dance around it. I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to attract. And I put a post out the
Right.
next day
That's
where I
right.
said, I'm not, it's the Wayne Gretzky, I think, had the quote, don't skate to where the puck bends, skate to where the puck is going. And I got off the call, and that's what inspired that post, if you even saw it, where I was like, but I don't know, where's that balance for you as an organization? Like, because I know you have some strong opinions. For me, I left that call, obviously some self-reflecting, some learning in there, because I had to question, are they right? And I have a ton of respect for this group. I hung up and I'm like, they're wrong. They're wrong, because if we're trying to appease to the people that are running these organizations today, the way they're being run today, we're just more of the same with like an edgier voice. But once you're in the ecosystem, you're just exactly what it is you say you don't want to be, if you're trying to be that for everybody.
Yeah, you can't be everything to everybody, but you can be the right thing. And my comment is they'll be back.
They'll be back.
They have to learn their lesson, and if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Yeah. But as you grow, and because this, I've kind of just, I know I took it a little bit off a call center, but even there's going to be a lot of BPOs, I think primarily that watch this is other people that are in our industry, or like, because a lot of it, obviously you're in contact centers if you're watching a podcast that's primarily about contact centers, but like, what about market positioning? How do you like, because you're already doing it. I think you probably do. I wouldn't say probably, you do a better job than we do on the sense of like, here's the message, A, B, C, and D, plus one BPO. Like, this is the linear solution. I think you do a good job at that, better than we do, because you'll kind of talk about, hey, your thinking's wrong, and kind of here's why. Where we do a lot of like, hey, your thinking's just flat out wrong, and then like a tiny bit of here's why. Um, and I think we need to reverse our food pyramid on that as well, and kind of like get into more here's the why, like your thinking's wrong. And but anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
market
look,
positioning
you
for,
want to cast a wide net. I mean, because you care. But inside the net, the right partners aren't always in there because it's not the right time for them. You know, customer first, revenue first is not in their wheelhouse. You said it earlier. It's how much money can I make for my shareholders? Until they flip the script, they're not going to get it. But what they don't understand is the way to generate more revenue for their shareholders is to increase customer revenue and customer satisfaction at the same time.
wait, so what you're telling me is the model isn't dump a shit ton of more money into marketing and outpace churn and get your customer service costs down as low as possible? That doesn't work.
It works for a little while. It works. It works sometimes, and
Oh,
it works for a little while.
so wait, hold on, you broke my brain. So I thought the model was just dump a shit ton of money into marketing and then do everything as little cheap as possible, and that's how businesses grow. You're saying there's another way.
Well, as far as
We
Plus One
love it.
BPO, we hardly spend any money on marketing.
I know you guys. I think
I
most
prefer
year.
belly to belly.
Amen. Amen. Like the and honestly, just great admiration. I know, like, and I asked some questions that I went through the last week, because when I went through that little practice, and I think there's kind of that, like, as we get in and with the alliance and stuff, we all have differing views, like for the most part, but we all care about outcomes, right? Like, I think the debate needs to be had on like, you know, KPIs, KRIs, and getting like, I've had some good conversations, even with our own CTO. We did a podcast where he thinks very highly of activity metrics, like extremely highly. And this is internal, right? And so we play this internal game and this balance. And I think through the alliance, I think we'll get better definitions with like sharing. But I don't even remember where I was going with it. It's just,
Your
it's,
internal KPIs are important. I mean, if you're not in business, then you can't go help. You can't help brands, right? You
Yep.
have to be profitable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but activity, we're talking activity metrics. So like if you get into I'll show you like what we built in as like our internal tool. It's very different than yours, so it's not like we went and saw pop and created our own version of it. We're getting ready to launch. It's called Sonic Pulse.
Sweet
And
name. I love it.
it's I'll have to show, I think, like through the alliance, but that's what I was getting at. I think that even if maybe this won't age perfectly well for the two of us, we could, but in 5 years, I know that these conversations for sure, we might not be 100% right on everything we say today, but at least companies like yours and companies like ours are starting the conversation and moving it forward, and we're figuring it out, like, but I think we're on the right
Yeah,
track.
I mean, come and prove to me that average handle time is like the metric. And dude, show me data, and I'll follow you, dude. But it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love you. I freaking think it's
So
amazing.
I held this in my brain while you're talking, and that's internal KPI. You bring on a you bring on a customer. You're doing an amazing job for them, but your your customer service or your sales agents or meshed, um, they're only able to connect with the customer 20 minutes out of the hour. Well, let's talk about the impact of that. The real impact is the morale of the agent. That agent that agent's whole job is to procure conversations on the phone. And so what's he doing out of the other 40 minutes out of the hour? Not making money, right? And so his the morale goes down. So 20 minutes out of the hour doesn't work. So yeah, you have to have an internal metrics, and your CTO is saying, hey, and maybe that's one of them. We have to keep people busy because that's their job.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do an introduction and I think it's healthy debate, right? Like I've been asked even by the marketing group, they were asking some very pointed questions, and there was times where I'm like, look, I'm not saying that I've got it all figured out. I like, but that's what's going to be fun over the course of the 5 years working with groups like yours. And I know we went a little bit over time. I think there's going to be some really good clips out of this, so I'll get it pulled up, and then we can put the full episode out once we get our alliance all launched, so the world
I'm
can.
excited for that. I'm really excited for the alliance. I'm excited to get this message is important, especially for brands out there looking for an alternative that like the way that we speak about revenue first. It does not mean that we're not empathetic. In fact, we have, I know you do, we do, our alliance does. It's got better customer interactions than I'm still going to refer to them as the blockbusters because we care. We understand the conversation. That is not what we're trying to say. It's not what you're trying to say um, that we don't understand and we don't care. We actually care more about brands, customers, and our customers than Blockbuster. I guarantee it. We care about
100%.
the outcomes. We care that they're profitable. We
Well
care that
said.
their customers are raving fans of the product. We
Yeah,
care probably too much, and that actually may, if we look back in the next 5 years, it may be a downfall.
I don't think so,
I don't
but
think so either.
it is the yeah. I think that was pretty well said, man. That was really well said. So I know we kind of just in closing, Dan, Plus One BPO. What's your website, dude? It's
Plus one
plus one
BPO.
BPO.com.
.com.
All right. So check out Dan. Dan, we'll do some more of that. I'd love to do this again and kind of just check back, see where we're at, and just kind of obviously document the journey of the next 5 years as we go.
Dude, that would be super
Obviously, you and
awesome.
I will stay in touch, but we'll make some videos.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, man. Well, I appreciate it.
Justin, this has
Um,
been a pleasure. Appreciate
yeah.
it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
And here's to